काशी आपका आज का होस्ट आपका दिल से स्वागत करता हूं। इट्स माय एब्सोल्यूट प्लेजर टू सी इंडस्ट्री लीडर्स, बिजनेस पार्टनर्स, मेंटर्स, फ्रेंड्स एंड फैमिली विद स्व। आज यहाँ इस मंच पर नॉलेज एंड एक्सपीरियंस की बारिश होने वाली है एंड दिस विल एड द न्यू डायमेंशन टू अवर प्रोफेशनल जर्नी. So we have kept tables to my left, and over there you can ask queries and question answers. जहाँ पे interactive tables रखे वहाँ पे आप ये जो मैं topics पढ़ रहा हूँ उसके बारे में आप पूछ सकते हैं. That is issue design, framework and methodology, hot insulation and industrial applications, cold applications and HVAC, acoustic solutions, insulation material selection, industrial connect and passive fire protection. So please feel free to connect over there. और बाहर भी हमने सिमिलर कंसेप्ट की व्यवस्था की गई है. Now it's right time to remember our God. भगवान जी से हम आशीर्वाद लेंगे. And along with the Deep Pragatya, I would like to call Mr. Pankaj Dharkar, Mr. Naresh Gaur. Please come forward, sir. Mr. Dipen Mehta, Mr. Krishna Kumar Mitra, Dr. Lakesh, Mr. Urvesh Wada, Mr. Ashu Gupta, Mr. Chirag Mehta, Ms. Nisha Shah, Ms. Kanisha, Rushabh Bhai, Sheila Ben, Mr. H. N. Ganatra, Mr. Satish Parikh, Mr. O. N. Sharma, Mr. Alpesh Panchal, Mr. Ashok Patel, Mr. Vijay Panchal, and Mr. Sneh Shah. Please welcome.
दीप
Let's unlock insights that redefines the industry. Today, we are having a panel discussion followed by question answers, startup launch followed by the dinner. Today, we have an amazing personality amongst us who is a moderator for today's panel discussion. Mr. Ashu Gupta, founder of D2O, Design to Occupancy, which is India's leading sustainability consultancies with 2 decades of experience. Mr. Ashu Gupta have executed a green building in Jaipur, which is net zero model for sustainability, net zero energy, water and waste. Prestigious ITC, Indian Tobacco Company, के साथ भी आशु जी ने मिलकर काम किया है फॉर नेट जीरो एनर्जी एंड वाटर गोल्स. D2O, जो सर की कंपनी है, उनके पोर्टल से 30,000 से ज़्यादा लोगों ने सस्टेनेबल प्रैक्टिस के बारे में सीखा है. इवन यूपी, राजस्थान गवर्नमेंट हैव रिकग्नाइज्ड मिस्टर आशु गुप्ता's contributions. Please welcome Mr. Ashu Gupta.
All right. Good evening, everyone. I think I need to ask again in the Dharkar sir form. Good evening, everyone. Good evening. Awesome. We need energy because we are going to talk about energy, how the insulation impact on energy. So great. So first of all, thank you so much, Viraj, and congratulations to you. That heartiest congratulations to you. Because I remember my meeting with you during Cool Conclave. I met you the first time. And seriously, I can restart my journey when I started as a startup because you're consulting, Swa Consultancy. I can rewind those days. So I'm sure best wishes to you and entire team. And best part is that I did one training with your team. You have amazing team, which I know, and great. So thank you so much for inviting me as a moderator. I came from Hyderabad, but I'm born and grew up in Agra, then moved to Jaipur. I am also vice president of society called ISHRE, as a society vice president. And Ahmedabad is like, again and again, Ahmedabad, more love is coming from Ahmedabad to me. Thank you so much again. So today's panel discussion is very, very important. The reason we are not going to talk about so much technical thing, but we are going to talk about simple, which is missing in our design, which is missing in our knowledge. Insulation, people don't prioritize that. Because I am also energy consultant, I have seen in the code, several things has been written, but people just focus on the bigger item like chiller, VRF or something. Insulation is something which we are missing. So as an industrial perspective, as a building perspective in a built environment, we will talk about those items. So because the topic of this today also panel discussion when we talk about, we are not talking about only thermal. We are talking about the holistic insulation design, the thermal, acoustic, and safety. In all 3 parameters, this insulation is required. And I'm not sure how many people are aware that insulation industry growth kitni kar rahi hai. If you look at this market in worldwide, because we see very few names in insulation, but worldwide this industry is growing by 9 to 10% every year. And it's a big market right now. So we have a very amazing panelist from your city, and we have from some outside city also. And you will find in the next 45 minutes to 1 hour, you will have a great understanding of insulation, how this selection of insulation happen, what kind of the codes talk about it. So I want to start to invite my panelist who is amazing in their field, what they have done in the 3 decades, 4 decades. So first I start with Mr. Pankaj Dharkar. I would like to invite you on the stage. Mr. Dharkar is, I think, no need of introduction in this city and entire country. Is a leading MEP consultant. More than 5,000 plus projects he has been delivered on the built environment. And Mr. Dharkar is also the chairing of ISHRE decarbonization as well as the several, he's a ASHRE, which is a global recognition society. He's a DRC, Director Regional, is in charge for that society, for the entire Region 15, the board of the director. Sir, thank you so much for joining us. Mr. Dharkar, please. We have Mr. Naresh Gaur. Mr. Naresh Gaur is a 4-decade experience in the pharma industry. So we have the person from the industry who will talk about it. So Naresh sir, thank you so much for joining us. And I'm sure that this audience will understand from the pharma point of view, and you can see the profile on the screen as well. But we will have a combination of consultant, manufacturer, academician also. So we have our third panelist, Mr. Dipen Mehta. Dipen Bhai is from your city, one of the leading MEP consultant. And Dipen Bhai, thank you so much for joining us. Please. We have Mr. K.K. Mitra. I want to say is a kind of an insulation man of India, Mr. Mitra, because I know him when I started a graduation from my college. He was the person who asked me to become ASHRAE member. So KK sir, again, again happy to see you here also. He is the president of Lloyd Insulation in India. We have another panelist who is from academician, Mr. Professor Vikas Lakhera ji from Nirma University. He is adding the mechanical department there. So Vikas ji, please round of applause everyone, please guys. We should have energy. We have so much personalities in our room. We have another personality from industry, Mr. Urvesh Wala, Joint General Manager, Material Engineering and Technology, L&T. So Urvesh ji, thank you so much for joining us. Great experience. I was hearing about you, lot of experience offshore you have outside country in the steel and manufacturing plants. So great pool of the panel. You can see people from across the industry. And I can see in the hall also, the people is not only for the building, there are a lot of people from industry. I know some of the energy auditors are sitting in this room. And how this insulation, we have the people from the government side, from the JEDA also. So all kind of people in the room we have. So let's talk about, so I want that whenever you feel bored also, just feel free to stop me and ask your question also. Because this panel discussion, I don't want, we should talk each other. We want that people also want to ask, and they should learn something in the next 1 hour, how the insulation not. So this is something we want. So I want to start with Mr. Dharkar. So Dharkar sir, because I'm following you since decade now. I have seen the journey, how energy you have. I don't know how you get those energy, but I want to understand in your experience I think you have designed more than 5,000 plus projects. But how do you understand how the insulation impact on the built environment? And when we talk about the decarbonization, all three parameters, safety, thermal, and acoustic, how do you design insulation in your projects?
Thank you, Ashu. I think first let me congratulate Mitul and Viraj for this fantastic evening. People who may not know that few years back, Mitul gave Viraj to me, and he started his journey with me. So thank you, Viraj. You did a fantastic work while you worked with me. And since then, I've spotted him. He's a brilliant boy. And I'm very happy that Mitul has brought him to my industry. So congratulations to entire family. So I think, for me, I think as Ashu, you said in the beginning, the insulation is a key material for all our projects, and whether it is coming from the envelope side, we all understand how ECSBC, which is the latest code, has recommended the quality of R and U values, and it is very important when we come to ducting insulation, piping insulation. All of us understand the importance of it. And of course, the area where Viraj is going to work on the acoustic side, it is again going to be extremely, extremely important, because that is the area where I think India is lacking in terms of design competence. So I think again my best wishes to him, because he is trying to encompass area where we are in infant stage. Let us all acknowledge that. So friends, I think to me, there are various materials available, but where we lack, and also as a designer or as a specifier, we do specify many things, but what gets implemented at site, I think there is a big disconnect, and that is the area I think all of us in this hall put together. We need to improve this, because ultimately the client gets what is the end product after installed. So, and also the processes post commissioning are also lacking. I think we need to develop right protocols to ensure that what has been committed is getting implemented. So I think, to me, application side of it, where a lot of training is required, because every insulation, whether it is nitrile rubber or EPDM or traditional rock wool, glass wools, glass wool, of course, we have gone off. But the application of all this material, also the awareness about the adhesives, the finishing material, and how it gets implemented ultimately, and how it is performing. I think the performance side, application and performance side, all of us has to really strive. A lot of work needs to be done, not only by consultants, specifiers, the material suppliers, and team as a whole. I think that is the area where I personally feel a lot of work needs to be done, sir.
Great, sir. I think you very well pointed out related to the code. The code, I'm not sure how many people are aware, like ECSBC also mentioned mandatory R value or the U value for the insulation when you are putting either on the pipe, either on the duct. But very few are aware. I know that this is a mandatory code in Gujarat now very soon, and everyone has to follow. So great, sir. I think you're already doing it. I want to hear from Mitra, sir, from you, because you have 37 plus experience in the industry of insulation only. So can you give us some numbers about it? Because I was reading on ChatGPT or Grok to get the number, but I think I have you now. So give us the number, how this industry is growing, how the market it is, and how it impact on the all three aspects of the holistic approach.
Thank you, Asu. In fact, it's something like a journey beginning in 1988, and today we are in 2025. Definitely, it is. I would say that I'd like to congratulate Mitul Bhai and Viraj that you have come up with Swa. It is something. I would say, sorry, I'm just scribbling the while I was traveling in the aircraft today, that you have tried to put a novel concept of holistic insulation design. It is something we know, designing of a building, designing of air conditioning, designing of a, Urusvai is here, designing of a hydrocarbon industry. But how do you take care of the ancillary support industry? That is most important. That is what a big challenge you have taken. It's really complimented to that. And I would say that it is a subject that sits at the intersection. Ashu talked about energy, acoustics, so many things that I would say it is in the intersection of energy efficiency, environment responsibility, human comfort, very important. We are sitting in this room. Without comfort, you cannot enjoy. We are sitting in a room where noise pandemonium not happening. Our concentration is there. So it is an intersection of all of them. And finally, operational safety. It can be fire safety. In an industry, it can be process safety. So many things are there. And I would also say that previously it was something like a passive, like Dharkar said. It's a passive material. You take a decision. I'm going to wrap it on a pipe. I'm going to put it on an equipment. I'm going to put it behind the walls. But ultimately, what is the benefits coming? I saw in 1988, it was 12 kg, 16 kg density. Now the mass has gone up to 100 kg, 120 kg, 160 kg per cubic meter. So that is how the graduation happened. But now we need to say, what is the extent of that application, which is most important? And another thing is that a strategic engineering component, it is no more something which is a passive, but it is basically a strategic change which is required and which also has to be linked to return on investment. If we're doing an investment, if we're going for changes, now we talked insulation as a mass product, but no more. Now we are thinking of product which can be 1/3 of the thickness required, nano insulation. Insulation is something in an industry, it is on the outer surface. In air conditioning on a pipe, it is again exposed. So it has got a lot of impacts. Moisture is the most important. Can we think of materials which can stop?
Please, can you please keep the mic? Yeah.
Can we think of insulation which can stop the moisture absorption directly? Don't depend upon the cladding itself. So can all those shifting is possible? Second most important aspect is the operational efficiency. We know in the hydrocarbon industry, we talk of minus 200 degrees centigrade in LNG, to superheated streamline of 565, 590, 600 degrees centigrade, running across kilometers. Suppose the temperature increases in a cryogenic or drops in a steam pipeline, huge amount of fuel is wasted. So you need to talk about proper design. That is something which is actually calling about a synergetic shift from a normal application to a something called an engineering concept. Something we know about EPCC, we know about PMC. So the challenge takes up is in that line. How can we convert this as a normal contracting? Mind it, this works comes last aspect of a project. The duration may be 8 months. I have seen in my 37 years. You are actually getting time of 30 days. So 240 days become 30 days. You think about a pipe. Can you put 100 people on top of it to the work? Can you put it on a boiler? No, it is not possible. So, or in a shaft, can we increase the manpower and get the output? No. So, a very, very good designing aspect is there. So, also I'm stopping here. I cannot keep on speaking because I have so many things. But at the end, I will again come back in terms of the practical impact, what can be done. Thank you.
Thank you, Mitra sir, for your points and your experience of 37 years in the installation industry. Guys, I want to share experience also, because installation, how it impacts. Like I constructed my own building, but with the help of the 50 mm of insulation on the roof, I really saved around 6 to 7 degree temperature coming inside. And that is something I actually faced. That is want to share what he was mentioning about. It's just a building. So I want to move over to the industry, sir, Naresh sir, because your experience, when I was reading your profile, I was really amazed to see the 4 decade experience, more than that, in the pharma industry. Sir, how do you understand, because that is something is very far to me, the industry, pharma industry. Tell us our audience that how, as a pharma industry, when they construct, how critical is the insulation for sustaining the temperature to product integrity and regulatory compliance?
थैंक यू मितुल भाई, फर्स्ट ऑफ ऑल फॉर कंसिडरिंग मी. दोस्तों, मैं एक टोटली डिफरेंट सेक्टर से आता हूँ. व्हेन आई स्टार्टेड माय करियर इन 1984, तो मेरे ग्रैनुलेशन एरिया में मॉस्किटो नेट लगा हुआ था. नथिंग लाइक HVAC व्हाट वी हैव टुडे. नाउ टुडे वी आर इनटू एडवांस्ड BMS systems. Future is with AI predictive. Coming back to the question, pharma एक तो recession proof है. आप खुश होंगे तो दवाई खाएंगे, दुखी होंगे तो दवाई खाएंगे. कोविड में भी हम काम कर रहे थे, आप सब घर पे थे, हम 12 घंटे चल रहे थे. So I come from a segment which is recession proof, but on the other side, we are always prone to regulatory supervision. What does that mean? Last 20 years I had been working for Europe and US regulated markets. जिन प्लांट्स में हम आते हैं, US जब भी आता है इंडिया में, US FDA, आप लोग पेपर में पढ़ते रहते होंगे, they come with a trust deficit. I can tell you past experience. मैं एक जर्मन ऑडिट फेस कर रहा था यहीं अहमदाबाद में. I will not name the company. वो उसका एक बंदा यहाँ बैठा हुआ है, मेरा एक पास कलीग. AHU के ऊपर बढ़िया एक स्वास्तिक का निशान था, पूजा की हुई थी. उसने पूछा व्हाट इज़ दिस. तो वी सेड कि सर हमारे यहाँ अभी ये था, दशहरा था, तो हमने पूजा की है. देन ही लुक्ड एट वेरियस गैप्स वेयर द एयर वाज लीकिंग. बोले यू शुड बी वर्शिपिंग दिस, नॉट दिस. पॉइंट इज वी आर टॉकिंग अबाउट इंसुलेशन. When I walked onto the utility floor and I see the water is dripping, सारे फ्लैंजेस आपके कास्ट आयरन के होते हैं, वॉट एवर मेटल, रस्टिंग होता है, वो रस्ट के स्पॉट्स नीचे होते हैं. When FDA walks in, they are worrying if you are not able to control your utility, how you are able to control your clean rooms. आने वाला वक्त 2 sunrise segments हैं, and you guys are lucky. You are going to, I don't know, I mean, I was hearing 8 to 10%. I can predict it will be 15 to 20%, your growth. Because pharma is totally moving to biologics now. From chemicals to biologics, which requires far more temperature control, far more conditions in a sustained manner. You cannot have sudden peaks and jugs. You have to have a consistent control on your temperature. And I was hearing one of the experts here कि 1 degree lower or 1 degree higher, 3% energy. My father used to say, पिताजी कहते थे महंगा एक बार रोता है, सस्ता बार बार रोता है. और हमारे प्रोजेक्ट वाले क्या करते हैं, मैनेजमेंट ने बोला नहीं नहीं इतना बजट नहीं है, उसका KPI बना दिया, 10% प्रोजेक्ट कॉस्ट कम करना है. वो सीधा आएंगे आप लोगों के पास, भाई इसका खर्चा कम करो. बाद में मेरे को ऑपरेशन चलाना है, हर महीने मैं पिटूंगा कि तेरा ऑपरेशन कॉस्ट ज़्यादा आ रहा है, क्योंकि एनर्जी बिल ज़्यादा आ रहा है। अब वो एनर्जी बिल क्यों ज़्यादा आ रहा है? इफ़ आई टू गो एंड लुक इनटू दैट, माय एयर कंडीशन इज नॉट वर्किंग प्रॉपरली, इंसुलेशंस आर नॉट प्रॉपर, पील ऑफ हो रहा है, कहीं वाटर ड्रिपिंग हो रहा है, लीकेजेस हो रहे हैं, एंड दैट्स वेयर आई एम कमिंग फ्रॉम। एसेप्टिक कंडीशंस की अगर मैं बात करूं, अगर हमारा एयर फ्लो प्रॉपर नहीं है, नाउ थैंक्स टू AI वी कैन साइमुलेट एयर फ्लो पैटर्न्स एंड वी कैन फिगर आउट कि कहाँ कहाँ डेड स्पॉट्स हैं मेरे पास, जहाँ कंटेमिनेशन कैन कम इन सिट। अगर आपका लीकेज है यूटिलिटी एरिया में, microbial colonies will develop there, and when they will enter into the area, you never know. Right. And we are into life-saving drugs. So more so in sterile conditions, where the injectables are there, sterile preparations are there, we have to be very, very careful and ensure that thorough designing of engineering is happening.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much, sir, for sharing your feedback and experience. I think let's a round of applause for that. तो दीपेन भाई, मैं आपके पास आना चाहता हूँ because I heard from the industry point of view, but as a consultant point of view, not in the design, but execution के time पे क्या challenges आते हैं? What are the skill gap we have related to the insulation industry?
Thank you. I think most of the people are from Ahmedabad, so I'll start with their connection with related to few projects in Ahmedabad. Before 30 years, we were doing Ahmedabad Management Association. Now we were debating which kind of insulation we should use, under deck, over deck, whatever the different options available, mineral base or polymer base, there are so many options available. Now when you select, apart from acoustic thermal, there are so many construction related problems. When you do over deck insulation, we have to do waterproofing, then again insulation, again some protective layer we have to provide. And if there is a seepage in the insulation layer, in case of over deck insulation, that during summer, the water seepage inside the insulation will convert it into vapor, and my top protecting layer will get cracked. So I'll start deteriorating my insulation material. So then we have find out a solution that we have to provide some system to release that vapor, to protect the insulation material. Again, we have done that wonderfully. Again, another case, Swati Restaurant. It's a steel structure. Apart from thermal, acoustic also very important. And there were no testing procedure available, methods available. So we have done that material, tested in my house above gas stove. I'll tell you that. So what is the property? What is the reduction in the temperature? Once the trial sample is done, and we have done that, you know, it is now almost 25 years plus. So when we are selecting the material, there are so many problems and solutions we have to face, that whether we are going to achieve the design intents, what will be the construction technology, what will be the construction sequence, apart from cost. So many, like recently we are doing one religious campus at Khandwa. Now temple, stone construction. We cannot use any of these acoustic or thermal insulation materials. Stone we have to design such a way that stone itself will act as a acoustic and thermal properties, right? So apart from material, so many construction challenges we have faced, and selection is very crucial when we are discussing with architects the building envelope design. At that stage, we have to decide the insulation material, select the material properly, and then only the successful properties can be achieved.
Absolutely true, sir. In the installation is very, very important part. I think execution which is required. And we have the very great product, but the installation doesn't happen. That should be properly reviewed. Thank you so much for citing the feedback. Urvesh ji, I think because your experience, I was listening, you have a India experience, outside India experience. And I want to understand from your, because the EPC company as L&T is one of the biggest EPC company. What do you think that, how do you do the selection of the material first for the insulation? Because in the same, how do you procure that? What do you look on the company? And the second, if it's something is a different in the part of the world differently or India differently. So that is something I want to understand from you.
Yeah, thank you. And just being a Gujarati, Kem Cho Ahmedabad? Majama? Okay. So continue to that, just to answer your question from EPC prospects, design concept to guarantee warranty. So we take responsibility.
Okay.
Because of end user commitment and as a contractor, we give full-fledged solutions. Like design, we start with what is the basic requirement for all three insulations, what we discussed, to how it is to be executed in terms of design, how the material selection is to be considered, and what supplier we are targeting based on the end user's wish list. And normally when we say about the material, that for example rock wool is our one of the material which we use for hot insulation. So previously outside India there is no concept called slag. But when we see Indian market for such material, cost is our first and foremost criteria to decide that to whom we have to give order. So when we say this, nearby steel industry, the insulation cost is less. If it is going far away from a steel industry, the cost increasing. And then all the suppliers claiming about their quality. So our quality having less slag, high slag, percentage of slag is the talk of the town for that particular material to finalize. So that is challenges for the material selections for us to execute. Right. Now coming to applications or executions at the site, we are struggling with the contractors, and at present scenario, all wants AC job. Nobody wants to work in industry or at site where they want to expose to harsh environment. So there the challenges are skill, and other is how to handle the material. So normally when we see the cold insulations, hot insulations, segregations of this material is always a challenge. Then if you go further, then applications is everything is over. Then when the execution started, that time challenges are different. For example, we design material with operating conditions. And then we get into the problem called upset scenario or startup or shutdown scenario, which normally insulation material is not designed for. Normally it is designed, is given only to the material selections of the piping or equipment, not for the insulation, because insulation is designed by the operating conditions. So those challenges are coming back to us that the insulation is not correct because the condensation effect was not to be addressed correctly in design. So these are the challenges which is normally we faced for our execution activity. Other is the biggest problem is CUI, corrosion under insulation, right, or under fireproofing. So those things are very challenging. Many standards says many types of primary protections, and then we have to go for minimizing the insulations, and now there are sophisticated sensors which sensing those requirements, which is in India is still we are behind, right, but in US or in Europe this is very common. So they normally control even material selections by controlling those sensors requirements in insulation. Yeah. So these are our challenges. And the last one is about the codes. So normally when we see offshore or onshore oil and gas industries, NORSAC M004 is the governing standard. Now from there they go to IOGP standard. So normally the design which we think of, what one of the panelists says, that we can reduce the thickness. So those thickness reduction is one third from the traditional thicknesses. Now this we take advantage from there to even civil structure, because whatever load which carrying the support structure, you can reduce the load for your civil structures. So by reducing the insulation thickness, we can reduce the load of all this particular calculations. So cost optimizations with respect to insulation selection is the key. So I'm thankful for the organizers to put us on stage, which I think they are the one who can help entire society and industry to minimize this burden.
And absolutely, that's something I want to say, that the change is happening in India too. We have the consultant Swa Consultancy, because you will not believe, I have also not involved any kind of an insulation consultant, acoustic consultant are come from US, is very popular. But I think, great Viraj, you have a great future for sure. You might be the first one in India to do that. So great to have. So great, I think, sir, I want to understand Professor Vikas Lakheraji. I think Nirma University, one of the prominent university in this state and entire India. So based on your research, because you have been so many years in mechanical department and working on the research side, because heat transfer and thermal performance, what do you think, sir, what advancement is happening in the insulation material? Because every single time the new insulation material, nanoparticles talk about it, but what is going on in the research side, sir?
Okay, thank you. As some of you might be aware that at Nirma University we have a thermal insulation testing lab. It was initiated way back by our senior colleague, late Dr. M.B. Jain sir. And Dharkar sir was the person who inaugurated that lab way back in 2008 and 9. So we have been doing the testing of the insulation materials. Some of the things which we find is during the testing is that one is the lack of testing for properties at very high temperatures and very low temperatures like cryogenics. So that facility is something which is lacking from the industry viewpoint of the equipment design as well. Because if you want to test, say, thermal conductivity at 800 or 1000 degree, especially for ceramic materials, by using absolute method like guarded hot plate, then it becomes cost prohibitive to get those kind of equipment. So many of the times industry has to extrapolate based on the testing data which is available at lower temperatures. So maybe if you want at 800 but you don't have the test equipment to run at 800, you have to do away with 100, 200, 300 degree testing and then extrapolate it to 800. So that kind of thing does happen. So that is partially because the equipment of testing is very costly as well. And maintaining such a costly equipments in the lab, again on the minus side also, if you want to test at minus 200 or minus 250 degrees Celsius, the properties of an insulation, there will be limitations from the equipment side. That is one thing. The second thing which we find is missing is how to recycle or to integrate the material back into earth. So especially like foams and all, they're all plastics. When you dispose them off, how exactly it will be, assimilated into the earth, that is again one of the things we completely find missing. Neither the government has any kind of a rule on that, nor the industry is bothered about that. Of course, some of the insulation materials may be eco-friendly because they are basically derived from rock and those kind of things. But plastics, foams and all those, I doubt if they will be assimilating that fast. So that is one aspect which we feel is missing. As far as the academic is concerned, I think the knowledge of heat transfer is very essential. And I'm happy many of my students are here also working with Swa and inner engineering. They were our students and I met them today. So the basics, fundamentals which we teach them, they are handy and when they apply on the field. So that is one thing I think academics, sometimes we hear that there is a gap between academics and industry. But I feel as far as the core is concerned, academics should continue doing their core business, which is teaching them the fundamentals. And industry need to train the graduates once they join them to give some kind of a orientation so that they can apply those kind of fundamentals back into the application side. It will not be possible for everything to come to academics and to teach them about, how to practice the insulation in actual practice. That is something which industry will have to do. And industry will not be teaching them heat transfer fundamentals. That we have to do. So that kind of bridging has to be accepted by both. And we should continue to focus in academics in our core business of teaching the fundamentals. So that is how I look at it.
Absolutely, sir. Because of the faculty like you, I want to tell you, because I have some students from Nirma University and I have interacted with the Viraj's team also. Amazing students. The understanding they are amazing in the heat transfer because generally the crowd which is coming from the colleges is not like that. But kudos to you, sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Incidentally, I have also taught heat transfer for a long time.
Very nice, sir. Very nice.
I don't know whether they found it good or bad.
But you have a good student, sir.
Yeah.
So, Dharkar, sir, I want to come again because you have led the Society Fire and Security Association of India also. And fire is something the people think the insulation, if you put an insulation, they will catch fire very easily. So please give us some kind of actually the myth breaker or something. What exactly, how the insulation is very important in the fire design as well.
So I think let us accept that insulation has a lot of challenges. I think none of us are confident that the kind of materials being specified, particularly in indoor spaces, are completely free of it. The understanding of various classes of fire
Right.
is also missing, and the entire industry many times is misleading also. So I think, to me, and we all understand that if you want to create an energy efficient building, you need to use a lot of insulation, whether it is for the envelope, whether it is for the air conditioning ducts or pipes, because we all spoke about each degree. Somebody said 3%, but I think if it is a chill water piping, you are talking about 20% loss in a larger project, so which is a substantial loss. And once you start increasing insulation, it is also increasing the fire potential. Many times people specifying materials which can create poisonous gases, and we all understand smoke coming from fire is a cause of death. Many times we have seen worldwide, whatever fires have taken place, smoke generated from cables and insulation material have been primarily the reasons for the life losses. And therefore, it is very, very important to understand the fire properties of insulation material, the smoke emissions happening from this material, and the right specifications going at right spots. Specifically when you are putting it to any air-conditioned environment. To me, I think even today the country lacks in having right kind of laboratories to really evaluate this. Often we have to send material to Dubai and Singapore for fire classification tests. I think I would also like Mitra Saab to add there, where he is sending the material for UL certification or FM certification. Unfortunately, we have hardly any labs which can do that. Of course, IIT Gandhinagar has taken very good initiative. I'm very happy, and I will urge Nirma University also to have a look at this. I think it's a very, very important cause which can be created, and it can be a very big service to our industry, sir, if we are able to develop these labs which can tell more critical numbers about the smoke emission, the thermal, apart from energy side. I think on the thermal side, we have recently achieved a lot of things, but on the fire and smoke side, I think there is a big gap on testing side of it. So
I fully agree, Darkar Saab. The selection of the insulation, especially in the fire, interior materials when we are using, is very, very critical. And how do we need to select to see the
you
fire
will also
properties?
see the ECBC codes coming up, and I think Dipen Bhai gave very good example when there are dissimilar materials on external faces, and with the kind of temperature variations our country has in terms of tropical conditions, 20 to 25 degree centigrade, sometimes in hot summer. So the material can create problems in the external finishes, but if they are put in inside, I think it is many times a very big fire load, which has to be addressed if you are not cautious about it. And for years, I think we all have done underdeck insulation from inside, which is unfortunately a very sad thing which happened. And therefore, when first ECBC code came up in 2007, we were very, very clear that any such protection, any such insulation should happen from outside. But still, we have not mastered the art of integrating it with the waterproofing. And that is where I think knowledge of people like Dipen Bhai, who also comes from the construction industry, and also all of us, I think, have to put might, because this is directly leading us to, in event of fire, I think this can really cause a
Sure.
huge problem. Even the O-class material will emit smoke. The smoke emission will be less, but it is also a poisonous gas. So I think we have to strike a balance between energy efficiency, which will come from good numbers of R and U value, but also the smoke and fire densities.
Absolutely, sir. Thank you so much for regarding for the fire perspective. Now, Mitra sir, I want to understand regarding that 12 years back when I started my startup. That time I was involved in the very different industry like energy efficiency and simulation basis, and which I can see the SWA also is thinking about how the INSU audit or the installation efficiency can happen. This is a kind of a very, like, still not in the regular market, the people talk about thermal insulation as an engineering component. 12 years back, sustainability was also not that like that. So how do you think, sir, how it will become as a thermal insulation as an engineering component, gradual shift from low priority to the measured selection? Like I'll tell you, similarly for ECSBC, everyone think chiller COP, VRF COP, no one think about the what is the minimum R value of the insulation. How will it come, sir?
Yeah, thank you, Asu. In fact, I'll just take one lead from Dharkar sir when he said, I think you could recollect when that London, that Grenfell Tower had fire, so you had given a statement also that the annular space between the outside cladding, decorative cladding and the wall, air gap should not be, because that is full of oxygen and the fire resists. In fact, after that, there was in IIT Gandhinagar, a building was made in two parts. One was that with a decorative cladding with air gap, other was filled with the insulation. Both were put on fire. UL people are also. It was found that the insulation which was placed in that annular space, it was non-combustible. The fire did not move at all. Then the research went up, and one of the laboratories in Greater Noida, they did it. Then that fire rating came up. So there are insulation materials which are 100% non-combustible. Put it on an oven, it doesn't burn. But yes, the knowledge has to be there, the propagation has to be there. So when we talk about that, that is very important. Second is that now everything counts nowadays with, especially in Gujarat, I think people understand, everything has a money value. Now investment can happen, good materials are there, everything there, but what is your payback period? I'll take example of first process industry, then the building industry. Process industry, when you talk of fuels, coal burning, or if it is a refinery where you have got various qualities of fuel which is burned to generate energy. Now that is very costly material. So there already initiatives have been taken of what is called performance-based working. Performance-based working. That is, if it is a project, you design it, apply it, again do audit, and find out what is the savings. So you will be surprised to know that for investments to the tune of 5 crores in a refinery, there is a return on investment within 11 months. 5 crores, 11 months. But that can happen only when you go for actually performance based. If it is a maintenance, again possible, do the audit, recommend, again come back. So that means first is the design, second is the selection of vendor on performance based. That is, you are gradually shifting to something what is called PMC mode. Not heard of. PMC is good for a big plant design, big for a building, but PMC only for thermal insulation, not there. That's what SWA. So you have to think in that lines. It's a paradigm shift, not heard of it. Now, energy savings, when you talk about it, it can be even to the tune of 30%. I'll give an example. The first modern shopping mall of the country, that was Ansar Plaza in Delhi in 97-98. They went for a beautiful insulation on top with parabolic finishes, good waterproofing, guniting done, all cooling towers on top of it. And in the center, there's a polycarbonate sheet for natural light to come in. Even after more than 25 years, Ansar's found an energy saving of 20 to 30%. Wow. That is where exactly after that ECBC came, even CPLD DSR came, when they introduced chapters on insulation, never heard of. ECBC from the beginning has put insulation important. Gradually the U values, 30, 40, up to 66% U values have been reduced in the latest ECSBC, an initiative of ISHRE. So that has ECBC Super Plus, like this bullet train concept which has come. Many of the buildings have got such type of concept. Another is that you need, when you talk about applications and to get a guaranteed return, labor is a challenge. Insulation is a labor oriented. The paradigm shift is happening in terms of prefab systems. Materials, systems getting manufactured at the factory going. So this is exactly what is happening abroad. Acoustics. I'll tell you, ASHRAE Global President Bill McQuaid, his theme includes thermal comfort, acoustic. Thermal comfort for the first time. So he has specifically talked about one of his slides on India, air conditioning. He talks about acoustics, and he has, I forgot, he put a number. if a good acoustics is there, it can actually make people concentrate on their work, and there is a percentage of improvement in the efficiency. That's it. And in fact, the initiative so much on thermal comfort. This year, ASHRAE headquarters Atlanta invited ISO committee to hold their meetings in ASHRAE office. So the shifting is happening. I've seen in Europe many countries, the municipality does not give permission if the building is not insulated. So what is required is that think about performance-oriented design, system, and also vendor selection. Not always LOI-based, maybe performance-based. And what I would say is that it is mind-boggling. Can anybody make a guess figure what is the value-wise insulation industry in the country? In India, we have got many manufacturers, contractors, but we have been able to keep insulation mostly made in India concept. It is 7,880 crores. That is the volume monetary-wise insulation in this country. Nobody can believe it.
Wow.
Nobody can believe it. And I would say, Viraj, like what Jagjit Singh Ghazal is said, जख्म दिल का इलाज आपने ढूंढ लिया लेकिन वक्त लगेगा. Have concentration, and someday insulation is going to become PMC concept, like we know Engineers India Limited, PDIL, many of our consultants. This can also be an exclusive thing.
I fully agree. I think fully agree, Ando, because I'm working in some projects in Israel. There's a mandatory criteria. Thermal bridge gapping is mandatory. They do not get the permission. Municipal corporation doesn't give the permission if they do not have a thermal insulation on the wall and the roof. So great, sir. Thank you so much for your feedback, sharing about your experience and all. Now, I think quickly, Dipen Bhai, because acoustic he has covered, but I want to give the example of acoustic. Today morning, we were having one conference in Hyderabad, and that was a Park Hotel, but that room now was not acoustic, and they got a complaint from several guests that a lot of noise is coming up. So acoustics are, while designing the people, when air conditioning fan is running, lot of acoustic problem comes up. When any system running, either the water is running in the pipe, then problem comes up, the concentration loses. So how we need to take care of that? I'm sure the insulation can be the answer, but how do you design generally at this moment?
I'll responding to your question. What is the best API you consider for sustainable building?
Sir, for 5-star rating, if you talk about the Bureau of Energy Efficiency has 80 and lower than 80 as a kWh per meter square is the API.
Right. If I give you example that we have API less than 10, then?
Sir, it is a super efficient building.
So my house, we have API 8.5. I'll tell you that.
Wow.
When you design a building envelope, the answer, I'll tell you the answer of your question is that holistic approach.
Holistic approach, yes.
Right? Holistic approach. So most of the people, I'll just give you few names. Indian waterproofing treatment.
Right.
China mosaic. Glass of window. Glass, that window material. Your door material. Your plaster thickness. Your brick wall thickness. Your slab thickness. Everything is contributing to your acoustic and thermal insulation. Now we don't know. So if you consider the cost of any project, 20 to 25% we are putting on acoustic and thermal insulation materials, right? If you have 115 mm thick brick wall, 230 mm thick brick wall, and stone wall of 450 mm, you will find the difference. When we were designing Ahmedabad Management Association, we were debating of between 9-inch brick wall and 7-inch concrete wall. There was a study we have considered that what is more beneficial. Now, architect want expose walls and ceiling, so we cannot have underdeck insulation. Even same problem with pipes.
Okay.
Even in house, your hot water system will have insulation. So many materials we are using directly or indirectly, with intentions or without intention, with knowingly or unknowingly, right? So even I'll tell you that now if you consider pipe, so many pipes are available where they have inbuilt insulation properties. I'll tell you that even overhead tank, in Ahmedabad we have a problem that in summer you will get hot water in cold water supply line. Am I right? Now the tanks are coming up to 10 layers of insulation, overhead tanks. Why? Because there is a need. Now people have started designing that product and supplying those products. Now we have to select the product appropriately, whether my noise will come or not. When we are selecting air conditioning unit, indoor unit, we always see that what will be the dB level, right? I have received complaint from my client at midnight 1:30, they will send me the video that my air conditioning machine is making so much noise. I can't sleep, right? Now simple indoor machine, your high wall machine.
Right.
We have to see what the velocity we are designing,
Right.
right? Whether it is pipes or whether it is air quality, right? Another problem is indoor air quality. The contribution of your acoustic material is directly related with your indoor air quality.
Absolutely.
When you are designing banquet auditoriums, we also consider, apart from thermal and acoustic insulation, what will be the input on indoor air quality. That also contribute apart from fire, what Dharkar sir said. So it is not a single answer, it is a holistic approach. So we have to take a holistic approach, and contribution of each and every one, right from architect to the structure to the contractor and design consultant, it is a integrated design approach we have to take.
Very nice,
Thank
sir.
you.
Very, very well sum up you have done it. So I think, Naresh sir, I think I want to understand from you, related to the existing facilities, which are, do you think there is a potential opportunity on the insulation retrofit in existing pharma industries? Are they lacking in that, or they are properly designed? What do you think about it?
Well, currently I find there is a huge gap.
Huge gap.
Yes. Definitely, if I see past 20 years of my experience, we have evolved and we have gone to several notches ahead, especially in last 3 or 4 years since IoT and Internet, Industry 5.0, 4.0 started making a lot of noise in pharma. We have put up a lot of sensors on our HVAC. Real time, from preventive to predictive maintenance, we have already gone. If I take cue from industry, like Pfizer, using AI, they have done digital twins. They have designed their HVAC based on digital twins, and they have claimed to save 23% energy using that design feature. The BMS, building management system, what earlier we used to have, and now what we are having now going in future, which is predicting in real time. I mean, it's taking cue from environment. Okay, at 2 o'clock, the peak temperature is going to hit at 48 degrees centigrade. So instead of over-designing the HVAC, they are designing it optimal level. At 11 o'clock itself, my HVAC will start ramping up so that it can take care of 48 degrees centigrade surge. That kind of changes I'm finding in the industry happening, in pharma especially. And with respect to insulation, what you guys have told, there is still a huge gap in pharma.
Yeah.
I don't know, basically is it because of project guys, or because of the consultants, or because of the pricing pressures, but I always find my utilities sweating, my flanges dripping,
Dripping.
and the controls at the shop floor level, it's always over-designed. As I was telling in my previous this thing, OPEX का सारा hit मेरे को पड़ता है. As a plant guy, plant head, हर management review meeting में तुम्हारा plant का खर्चा इतना जा रहा है. You all know, I don't know कितने लोग को plants का मालूम है. Manpower cost is always on the top. Second is my energy and fuel. और एनर्जी में हम लोग सब क्या कोशिश करते हैं, चवन्नियाँ बचाते हैं. क्या लाइट बंद कर दो, टॉयलेट में सेंसर लगा दो, कॉन्फ्रेंस में लगा दो, जहाँ लोग जाते ही नहीं. मेजर गजलर, एनर्जी गजलर इज व्हाट, माय चिलर. 1000 TR का चिलर लगाए, 750 का लगाए, 1500 का लगाए, उसको क्या करेंगे? व्हाट अबाउट एयर कूलिंग टावर्स? तो आई एम वेरी हैप्पी टू बी अटेंडिंग हियर. आई मीन आई एम gaining knowledge कि what different kind of insulation I can bring in my pharma so that I can save my energy bills.
True,
That's
sir.
the biggest challenge right now.
So whenever you feel any challenges now, sir, you have Swa number now, right? So that we will have that. So pharma industry is our target. Great. So sir, I think Professor Vikas sir, I want to come to you because as a consultant, what happened? I have written in the code कि ये R value, U value होनी चाहिए. I generally follow that. Any manufacturer come with the brochure कि R value, U value है. But you were mentioning that you have your laboratory testing lab where you do. So generally, what are the testing labs actually for the insulation facilities? क्या होती हैं? क्या थोड़ा सा ज़रा.
Okay. So basically, most of the testing work which we get is basically for thermal conductivity.
Okay.
So that is one of the, you can say, the prime objective of the insulation material. Second test which we often get is the open and closed cell, especially in foams.
Okay.
Apart from that, the burning characteristics. So there is a IS for that, and how it is burning in a horizontal orientation, and how it will burn if it is a vertical orientation. So because foams are, most of the time, they are susceptible to burning.
All right.
And that is one critical, you can say, drawback of it, that unless you have used fire-resistant chemicals in the formulation of the foam, you are likely to have fire-related problems. And we have seen while testing that it can burn like a paper if you have not used proper FRCs in that. So foams, while they are very lightweight and very effective insulation, especially if your temperatures are not large or extremely low, they can work at a moderate temperatures, they work very well. But then fire is one thing which you have to watch out for. Open and closed cell also are important because they allow the moisture to seep through. And once the open cells are more, then the moisture will easily penetrate inside the foams, especially if your claddings are not proper and all. So again, it can also act like a heat path. So it will allow the heat to move from higher side to the lower side. So those are the things which we usually get the testing for. For the rock wool and those insulations, basically rock wool won't catch fire. But what happens is while you are using the rock wool mattress, you are forming it, then you are using some kind of chemicals which will vaporize when it gets heated. So it has to be tested for incombustibility. So while rock wool may not itself catch fire, but when there is a fire, it gets heated, and those vapors will be generated which might assist the fire. So those kind of incombustibility tests also are important.
Very nice.
But overall, the K value is one of the prime tests which we get to. But again, as I told you, for very high temperatures and very low temperatures, the facility limitations are existing.
Very nice, sir. I think because this is, I asked question, several manufacturer comes with the brochure, but this says their K value or the conductivity value is this, but they don't have their standard, on which standard. So sometimes I need to compare with that, with which facility they have tested.
Standard basically is ASTM C177 and ISO 8301. And we have our IS 3346 also.
Okay.
So those are the standards which basically use guarded hot plate method, which is an absolute method. There are other methods like heat flow meter, for which ASTM C518 is there, and ISO 8302. So those kind of standards cater to it's a basically comparative method. But when it comes to testing, you should also see at what temperature he is reporting the K value. Because usually thermal conductivity will change as your temperature changes. Also for what density is giving the data.
Okay.
So because density and the temperature at which it is being tested. Usually the mean temperature is taken. So suppose your outside temperature is 50 degree and your inside room temperature is 10 degree. So as an average, it should be tested at around 30 degree. So that is the application temperature.
Okay.
So while testing the thermal conductivity, usually you create a hot side and a cold side. And typical gradients are actually 20 to 30. But in practice, it might be a larger gradient. So that is one limitation we always have to go with. There is no other way. In a furnace, your outside temperature could be 30 degree or 40 degree, while inside the furnace, temperature could be, say, 700 degree. So while you are having a larger gradient in actual practice, but the testing will actually happen at a temperature where the gradients are around 20 to 30 degree.
Got it.
So that is one thing which practically you can't do anything. But two things you can look is what density is material is tested and what temperature, average mean temperature is reporting.
Got it. Urvesh, last question to you. I think I want, then I will take a question from audience. As a EPC firm, because the costing matters, because you do the mostly government project, L&T, I see a lot of government buildings already done. So the cost factors comes in insulation also, like the decision when that required. the costing impacts a lot. In the insulation, let's not put the insulation, do without insulation. This is also, you face some problem?
Yeah, of course, as a EPC projects, cost of insulation comes around 6 to 8% of our project cost.
6 to 8%, okay.
So normally when we think of any insulation vendor finalization with respect to material or applicator, we have to call them the way we call him for our ongoing projects.
Okay.
So normally when the specs are revised, so this is now under question. Previously it was not, but now the revised specifications for IOGP, where they add special material, which is not traditionally used. And now normal material which we think of in India is now they are abandoned. So they now wants more high accuracy materials with respect to the thickness reductions and even the performance, what we discuss about CUI and the moistures which entrapped inside. So those things are now we have to take care when we design. So those parameters are really good for us to know. And even as of now, when we are talking to Indian applicators or even Indian material manufacturer, these are lagging. Even like one of the material is like aerogel, what we think of, which is now added in the spec. Who is going to manufacture in India is a question. So those things are really good for us to know that now next generation materials which we think of, even calcium silicate is now normally there. They don't like perlite because their moisture entrapment is quite high. So those changes are there, but now how good the end users and the PMC specs are. So those are the challenges which we normally incurred for when we decide the cost.
Right,
Yeah.
absolutely. So because I was also part of the CPWD revision for SOR, and I see they have put up all the insulation specification and they put up the cost also, because sometimes the project gets difficulty to have not in the part of SOR, so it is now there. So great cost is impacting. So great, because I have seen in the last 2-3 months, lot of merger and acquisition happening in insulation industry. If you look at the US company, they are buying an insulation company in India. I have seen 2-3 companies which I was not aware they were part of the window manufacturing or the glass manufacturing, but they are part of the insulation now. So a lot of development is happening overall. So great future is in the insulation, no doubt on it, and we need to do a lot of value engineering as a, then of course we can get a lot of value for that. So now the floor is open for the question for the audience. I think any question coming in your mind, कैसा भी question लगता है, पूछना है, पूछिए जरूर. So feel free to ask any question related to the insulation. We have the pioneer in this industry. So how do you prioritize insulation in your projects when you design or you execute? Please. Anyone? Yes, I think. So please नाम और introduction brief में, then.
सर मैं चंदू भाई मजीठिया माइक्रोवेव सॉल्यूशन अहमदाबाद से. सर ये हमारा जो एक्सटीरियर इंसुलेशन होता है उसमें वेदर प्रोटेक्शन का बहुत बड़ा इश्यू होता है. तो व्हाट इज़ द बेस्ट सॉल्यूशन फॉर एक्सटीरियर इंसुलेशन वेदर प्रोटेक्शन पर्टिकुलर इन रेनी सीजन?
वेदर प्रोटेक्शन आप जो कह रहे हैं बेसिकली पानी को रोकने के लिए, तो वेदर प्रोटेक्शन आपका 2 टाइप का होता है. द सबसे मोस्ट कॉमन मेथड आपको पहले देखना होगा इनसाइड द बिल्डिंग है या आउटसाइड द बिल्डिंग है. अगर इनसाइड द बिल्डिंग है तो उसमें आपका मतलब जस्ट आपका जो अगर चिल वाटर है या डक्ट है तो आपका जो वेपर बैरियर है तो उस वेपर बैरियर कैन बी यूज्ड एज अ वेदर प्रोटेक्शन. अगर वो बाहर है तो आपको देखना होगा कि वो आपका ह्यूमन फुट ट्रैफिक में एरिया में है कि नहीं. मैं कॉमन एग्जांपल दे रहा हूँ, जैसे दिल्ली मेट्रो में जो अंडरग्राउंड स्टेशन है उसके सारे चिल वाटर डक्ट देखेंगे खाली फॉयल लपेटा हुआ है, लेकिन बड़ा अच्छा प्रोटेक्शन है. इवन 2003 जो दिल्ली यूनिवर्सिटी का फर्स्ट अंडरग्राउंड मेट्रो स्टेशन बना था, टिल एज ऑन डेट नॉट अ सिंगल ड्रॉप ऑफ कंडेंसेशन हैपनिंग. बट चैलेंज आता है अगर आपका बाहर जा रहा है, आज के दिन में चिल वाटर आपका अंडरग्राउंड भी जाता है किलोमीटर्स पे, आपका एसी प्लांट लगा हुआ कहीं पे और आपका यूज़ हो रहा कहीं पे, और उस जगह में बिगेस्ट चैलेंज बिकॉज वो हेडर पाइप्स आपका 18 इंच तक भी जाता है. उस केस में आपको सॉलिड प्रोटेक्शन देना पड़ेगा. एंड दैट टू प्रोटेक्शन होना चाहिए बिल्कुल, नॉट इवन अ सिंगल पिन होल नहीं होना चाहिए. उसमें कई ऑप्शंस आता है, आपका GRP आता है, HDP आता है, प्लास्टर इज़ अ ओल्ड टेक्नोलॉजी नाउ, तो ये सारे आपका आ जाता है. सो आपको देखना होगा व्हाट टाइप ऑफ रिक्वायरमेंट, शाफ्ट में अगर जा रहा था वहाँ पे फुट ट्रैफिक का ज़्यादा चांस है, वो प्रोटेक्शन होना चाहिए।
Sir-
सम केसेस में अभी जैसे उर्वी साहब भी बता रहे थे कि आजकल कुछ ऐसे भी इंसुलेशन आ रहा है जो 100% नॉन कंबस्टेबल भी है एंड वाटर भी एब्जॉर्ब नहीं करता है, तो वो एक एडिशनल आपको सप्लीमेंट्री और कॉम्प्लीमेंट टू योर चैलेंज ऑफ क्लैडिंग आ जाता है आपका।
सर कई जगह पे फार्मा में क्या होता है, AHU आउटसाइड लगे हुए रहते हैं, ओपन टू स्काई लगे रहते हैं, डक्टिंग बार से आता है, और ख़ास करके स्टीम लाइन के ऊपर आज की डेट के अंदर हर जगह पे लोग एल्यूमिनियम क्लैडिंग करते हैं, बट इट इज़ नॉट लीक प्रूफ एंड वेदर प्रूफ। तो स्टीम लॉसेस अगर मैं मेरा अगर एक्सपीरियंस बताऊं तो ऑलमोस्ट 20% हायर फ्यूल में चला जाता है।
उसमें आज के लिए भी आपका चिल वाटर में आया नहीं है, बट इन द प्रोसेस लाइंस वगैरह में आया हुआ है, दैट इज़ एक GRP क्लैडिंग है। इट इज़ जस्ट लाइक ए मॉइस्ट बेड शीट जिसको बोलते हैं, वो गीला टाइप कपड़ा टाइप का होता है, पहले इंपोर्ट होता है, इंडिया में बन रहा है, उसको आप कैंची से काट के लपेट सकते हैं, और जब सूख जाता है पत्थर की तरह हार्ड हो जाता है। कभी अगर मेंटेनेंस होता है आप उसको काट के निकाल लीजिए, फिर एक और पीस लगा दीजिए। ये स्लोली ग्रेजुअली आपका एंटर हो रहा है, स्लोली ग्रेजुअली। ये ऑलरेडी सक्सेस आया था GRP एज अ प्रोडक्ट इन द मेट्रो कोच मैन्युफैक्चरिंग। आप देखेंगे कोच का जो विंडोज़ होता था पहले रेलवे का, जो एल्युमिनियम होता है, एल्युमिनियम प्लेट का, मोटी मोटी, आजकल वो चेंज होकर GRP में शिफ्ट हो गई। एक तो वेट, इजी एप्लीकेशन, एंड थर्ड आपका फास्टर विथ मिनिमम लेबर आ जाता है।
Right. Good. Any other question? I think yes, Idam.
I understand that the insulation material has to be such that it has to be efficient, whether thermal performance or acoustic performance. It has to be fire safe. It has to be even recyclable so that it will not add carbon in future to the environment. And besides that, it has to be weatherproof, waterproof also. And again, after that, I think that there should be an insulation material developed which can even act as a carbon sink, like it can absorb the carbon dioxide, looking at the future problems of decarbonization. So, sir, any such material is coming for testing in your labs?
It's like
मैं बच गया, मुझे लगा मुझे प्रश्न पूछ रही।
it's like somebody who was looking for a girl who is a perfect housewife, perfect professional also, and perfect dancer, perfect cook. So jokes
Sir,
apart.
sir, that is possible.
Yeah.
That is not impossible.
Yeah, jokes apart, yeah. So yes, there are materials which are very good, like aerogel. They have very low thermal conductivity, and there can be water repellent properties as well, just as sir also said about that. So yes, thermal conductivity is definitely low in aerogels, and but the only problem is it's costly. So right now, because it's basically a nanotechnology based material, so it's a little costly. But yes, if somebody can afford it, that is one thing which I look has a good future. It's a fire repellent as well. Right, Mitra sir?
Yeah, I will take, as ma'am said, आप जो देख रहे हो what you're looking for, basically DIY, do it yourself product. अगर do it yourself product आ जाता है इंडस्ट्री में, तो it is easily applicable. In fact, it is required. In fact, अगर आज हम newspaper हम देखा, one of the first opening was that the new wages which is coming up, insulation is a labor oriented. Availability बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है, एंड एज आई सेड ये किसी भी प्रोजेक्ट का आखिरी स्टेज पे होता है, वो घट के दिन कम हो जाता है, तो आदमी मिलेगा नहीं, काम प्रोजेक्ट नहीं हो सकता है। उर्वीस भाई बोलेंगे भाई मेरा रिफाइनरी में तेल निकलना है जल्दी, प्रोडक्शन मेरा कॉस्ट जा रहा है, तो मैं क्या करूँ? तो प्री फैब्रिकेटेड डू इट बाई दिस टाइप ऑफ थिंग स्लोली ग्रेजुअली आ जाएगा, बिकॉज नाउ इंडिया में लेबर इज़ अ चैलेंज, नाउ इट इज़ अ बिग चैलेंज। सो दिस टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स हैज़ टू बिकम कि आधा बन के आएगा फैक्ट्री से और यहाँ फट लगा दिया, आपने कर दिया। That is something
What I
very
can
important.
add is that Viraj is there to do the life cycle cost analysis and for such products.
तभी हमने बोला ना कि भाई वक्त लगेगा, थोड़ा पेशेंस रख दो, आ जाएगा। सब ढूंढता है PMC, PCC, ठीक है, किसी को रिफाइनरी लगाने L&T के पास जा रहा है, तो आगे किसी दिन इंसुलेशन, विराज भाई आज पूरा इंसुलेशन डिजाइन करके हमको दे दो, लगा भी दो और बाद में टेस्ट करके परफॉर्मेंस भी प्रूफ कर दो कि कंडेंसेशन नहीं हो रहा है। That is what is required.
Very nice.
And one more thing to add is, to your question is, now the standards are upgrading. So whatever you want is available maybe in future. So that is possible now because of the revised standard.
Standard भी important है, like
Very nice.
Mitul bhai is there, ISHRE and others. We have now in ISHRE also now insulation is a technical group specifically बना है. Publications are coming up now and commissioning maintenance भी उसमें डाला जा रहा है. So it is an important things
Right.
coming.
Last question. Anyone else? I think we have, okay, one person. Then Darshan bhai.
गुड इवनिंग माई सेल्फ दीपक माहेश्वरी. अभी हमने जैसे डिस्कस किया कि फायर और इसके कारण हम अंडर डेक से ज़्यादा ओवर डेक प्रीफर कर रहे हैं. तो जैसे ओवर डेक हम टेरेस के उसके लिए बात कर रहे हैं, पर आगे जो वर्ल्ड वाइड जो सिस्टम आ रही है EIFS एक्सटर्नल इंसुलेटेड फसाड सिस्टम्स, तो उसके रिगार्डिंग पोटेंशियल और उसके ऊपर हम क्या आगे फीचर देख रहे हैं? कैन यू ब्रीफ ऑन दैट EIFS?
EIFS is a very good concept, and one of the actually why EIFS is coming up, because it actually started from China, where they do not want to block. It started more in the walls. Do not want to block windows. Natural light आना चाहिए building में, and yet you are doing insulation, because अगर एक building को divide करेंगे तो wall and वो जो openings आता है natural light वाला, it almost comes to 60 versus 40%, 60-40%. So that's why EIFS came. Second was that कि इंटरनल एक्टिविटीज़ है, अगर EIFS करेंगे इंटरनल एक्टिविटीज़ आपको हैम्पर नहीं करेगा. वायरिंग हो गया, प्लास्टरिंग हो गया, सब कुछ हो गया. फोर्थ इज़ दैट कि इट इज़ कॉल्ड स्टॉपिंग द हीट एट द सोर्स. आपने वॉल को ज़िंदगी भर गर्म नहीं होने दिया, वॉल का लाइफ बढ़ा दिया. सेकंड, जब AC चल रहा है, वो जो ठंडा निकला जो वॉल है, दैट इज़ अ गुड कंडक्टर ऑफ हीट एंड कोल्ड. उसको एब्जॉर्ब करेगा एंड इट विल एक्ट लाइक अ कोल्ड स्टोरेज. वो ठंडा हो गया फिर उसको रिपेल करेगा. So that is the advantage. But EIFS का challenge है उसको finishing करना. And one of the good example, like with the success of EIFS first time, is the DLF Mall of India in Delhi. It's a big mall on the wall. EIFS has been done, constructed by L&T, and then outside उन्होंने beautiful yellow paint करके aesthetics भी रखा है. And it's a very, very effective. Again, they have done energy studies, and many of the DLFs, they are going for that. So EIFS is a very good concept, but first challenge, good adhesive to fix the insulation, give the time to dry up, फिर बाहर में insulation compatible with the plaster. It is called polymerized plaster, not normal plaster. Polymerized plaster उस पे लग जाता है. So it is a very good concept and very good for
And that paint is having temperature resistance paint, which we
So
apply.
I think I was president of ISHRE fortunately when first ECBC started in 2006-07, and this was a big debate whether we should promote external insulation. But to me, I think it is the best thing which ECBC started. Unfortunately, to me, in 19 years, we have not got vendors who are able to perform with the building engineering industry. I think it is a myth, sir, कि 19 साल में तो बहुत प्रोग्रेस हो जाना चाहिए था, पर शायद हमारे कोड्स और हमारे इम्प्लीमेंटेशन में उतना ताकत नहीं था. और यदि कल से ECBC कंपलसरी होगा, ECSBC कंपलसरी होगा स्टेट में, तो शायद ये अवेयरनेस हमारे आर्किटेक्ट्स और बिल्डिंग कंस्ट्रक्शन इंडस्ट्री में शायद L&T के पास होगी. बट और कुछ हमारे यहाँ PSP के भी लोग हैं, कुछ गिने चुने कॉन्ट्रैक्टर्स है who understand values. Otherwise people try to make shortcuts, and that is where we are not able to fully implement this.
No, absolutely, sir. I think we have a team जिसका काम ECBC implementation करना है state में. We have a team here also. They are listening now. So great. I think now we are wrapping up right now because, sir, Badarkar sir, because you have to go to outside country also tonight, and you given us a time. Thank you so much for your presence here. Let's round of applause, please. Mitra sir, because thank you so much coming way from Calcutta, the east part, from the best part now. Thank you so much for your presence here. And Professor Vikas Lakhera ji, so giving so many students to our society, to our industry. Thank you so much for it. And Deepan bhai, thank you so much for presence here in your city, but sharing the experience locally, what is there. Mr. Urvesh ji, of course, your experience from the offshore and the inshore also, you have experienced, or you have given a great feedback on it. And the last not the least, the 40 plus years experience, sir, more than my age. Thank you so much for presence in the pharma industry. Let's round of applause for everyone, guys.
I request Mr. Viraj Shah to grace the stage and present memento. Please.
आगे आ जाओ, आगे आ जाओ।
Mr. Pankaj Darkar, huge round of applause. Have a huge round of applause. Mr. Naresh Gaur. Mr. Dipen Mehta. Mr. Krishna Kumar Mitra. Dr. Lakesh. Please have a huge round of applause. Mr. Urvesh Wala. And Mr. Ashu Gupta.
Thank you.
Are you ready with the countdown?
10, 9,
Let's begin.
7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6,
Super, amazing. That's for none other than the founder of Swa Consultancy, Mr. Viraj Shah. Mr. Viraj is mechanical engineer from IIT Gandhinagar. He is MBA design from IIT Calcutta. He represents fourth generation from his family's legacy of advancing installation technology. अपने परिवार की मॉडर्न एप्लीकेशन में कैसे कन्वर्ट करना है उसकी लंबी सोच ऑलरेडी वीरज भाई के पास है. Well, I've come to know that other than the stronger academics and deep knowledge in the industry, in lockdown time, he simulated the lockdown with AMC, that is Ahmedabad Municipal Corporation, and that affected 80 lakhs of people. And other than that, he's very good FIDE-rated chess player. Yes, and he secured 99.99 percentile in CAT, which is one of the most prestigious examination in MBA. So let's welcome Mr. Viraj Shah. Some of the glimpses of his life is highlighted over here on the screen. These are all of his important moments that he has cherished in his life. Huge round of applause. Amazing.
Yeah, good evening, everyone. Really like, thank you everyone for taking out your precious time, and it's the weekend, so, and of course it's the busiest marriage season of, I would say, the decade, like millions of marriages in the span of a month. So yeah, thank you for taking out the time. So yeah, like what is Swa Consultancy about? But of course, it's about people, and people are main backbone who are giving the service. So I'll just take some time to introduce my team. They are in the left side of my head. They are from the right side. So I would just take their name. So firstly, Dr. Lakira sir, yeah, sorry. Dr. Lakira sir is a student, Mr. Vatsal. He is one of the, I would say, original members of this designing team. Then Kinnari, she is also Lakira sir student. Then Apurva. Okay. Okay, so actually, like Vatsal was one of the member who designed the INSO design application at when it was created. It was a COVID time project, so to find something that they are passionate about in those times, it was really like a good opportunity for everyone, like whatever they worked for. So yeah, so as you can see, like they are all young people, and yeah, that's what we are going for. Okay, so Vatsal, he's the senior expert in our company. So senior in our terms, who are young, who even call people 1 year older to us senior. So yeah, senior expert of the company, Vatsal. And Kinnari, she is also Dr. Lakira's student from Nirma University. Yeah, and then we have Jimit. He has studied in Germany in functional materials, and he's an associate engineer as business or client engagement. Then we have Shivam. You would know, sir, Shivam. He has worked with you, material science engineer from IIT Gandhinagar. Then we have Mihir. Mihir is also, he has worked with Vatsal for a long time on designing, and yeah, he is also a student from Nirma. Then we have Pooja. She is a physics graduate, different, not an engineer, but a physics graduate. So sound knows no calculations. So yeah. Balram, he is also from IIT Gandhinagar, and Jaideep, he is a student. Also a senior. So he will guide our research team. Then Sai Kiran. Previously, Sai Kiran was working with ISRO. So I think that kind of standards we want to keep in our team as well. Then we have Lohit. He's an associate engineer. And Khushi, she is also an associate engineer. And Swapnil, he was also in the team with Vatsal. And finally, Lakshya. So everyone gets chances. So I'll just flash a number on the screen, so anyone can guess what this number is. Yes, yes. Yeah. So the average age of everyone is almost 25 to 26 years. So we are young, but we want to build something from the ground up. Yeah. Thank you, everyone. Now I'll take some time to introduce about Swa Consultancy. And of course, everyone is here and they're open for interactions. So we would love if people spare some time, maybe just 5 minutes to interact with them. You will get a transparent view of the team, an unfiltered view. Rarely it happens that it's always the interactions, they are layered and like always layered upon layered, like there is a consultant, then there is a contractor, and then after 3-4 years you get to the engineer. So yeah. Thank you everyone. So just the basics of the company, key mission statement. So the mission of Swa Consultancy is to develop and design the most efficient and effective. So I just have had the definitions to go along if someone is finding it difficult to follow. Like it's easy to start, but it would get complex soon. But yeah, so efficient is what I would say, ki doing the most possible output in the least amount of time, and or it's applicable for resources as well, like less insulation thickness and still getting the same result. And effective manner, ki it's getting the desired effect, what is designed for. Insulation systems for our clients, enabling energy savings and contributing to a sustainable future. So sustainable is like a sandhi of sustain and able. So the ability to sustain. So we are leaving something for our future generations as sustainability. So yeah. The vision statement of the company is delivering professional insulation system designed and optimized for energy savings. So professional in the sense of maintaining standards, and optimized, we say ki we are making the best use of the resources. Any of the resources of the life cycle assessment we are talking about, we'll like consider. And yeah, across the Indian subcontinent. So Indian subcontinent, as people from abroad would also say ki it has all the geographies from the mountains of Himalayas to the oceans as well as the rainforests. Yeah. Then the purpose statement is to formalize, like to give a definite structure, because there are hundreds of manufacturers and hundreds of separate contractors that you have to deal with. And by becoming a neutral and independent body, so we are not affiliated with any larger controlling group, nor we are affiliated towards any ideological or political grouping. And striving for excellence. Excellence is minority opinion. That's how I titled my presentation, because it's like in India ki sab log kar rahe hum bhi kar dete hai, aur chalta hai chalne do, kyun badalna hai, koi dikkat thodi aa rahi hai. So that's what we are trying to break, the traditions, not traditions, but the traditional ideology, and breaking it by being very good that they appreciate it. And yeah, excellence in design, quality and performance. So that was about what this company is for and what are the values that it stands by and what's its purpose for existing in the industry. So some numbers from EU. This was an inspiration phase for me while creating this company. So I have referred to EIIF study. So EIIF is European Industrial Insulation Foundation. It was founded in 2009 by a consortium of 13 most reputed international MNC insulation players like North, Rockwool, etc. And IEA, that is International Energy Agency, and Bureau of Energy Efficiency of India. So firstly, EIF performed thermal insulation energy audits, more than 2,500 in the last decade or so. And like here are the results that they found. So there is a energy class in the insulation, how the insulation materials can be divided. And VDI, or the German standard, they have proposed an energy class C, and implementation of that energy class can lead to 75% or higher amount of energy loss reduction in the industry. So it differs based on the temperature of the lines, if it's high temperature, medium temperature, or low temperature. But still, more than 75% of energy loss can be reduced. 14 metric ton oil equivalent of potential energy savings, which is exactly equal. So the BE part cycle 2 total energy savings reported is 14.08 metric ton oil equivalent. So it's literally similar amount of savings can be realized. And as the IEA suggests, India's energy use in 2030 would be at least 12.5% higher than EU. So these numbers can be even higher for India. And what is like ton oil equivalent, million ton oil equivalent is equivalent to 162 megawatt hour of energy savings per year. So how do these numbers come into fruition, and how do these numbers come into existence? Like, what is the science behind it, or how can we actually realize the savings? So for that, I have created very small, very simple, easy to understand examples. So small example, a chilled water pipe. Many of you would be dealing it with routinely. So here are the inputs for the chilled water pipe. It's a 200-meter pipe, steel pipe, 100 mm NB, and it's chilled water, so it's 7 degrees Celsius. So this is just for 200 meter of piping. These are a couple of options that I've created. So option 1 is 25 mm of nitrile rubber. That is cost at 72,000 rupees, and second is 50 mm, which is costed at 1,53,000 rupees. And next is the condensation prevention. Okay, is it sweating or dripping? So in the 25 mm option, or option 1, we can prevent condensation if the humidity is less than 84.2%. Similarly, in the option 2, we can prevent till it's 91%. But there is no option that can prevent it at 100%. So it's not just one factor at play here, but multiple factors interplaying in the same ecosystem. And energy savings, so the option 1 I've considered as a reference value, and in the option 2, annually 7.36 megawatt hour of energy savings can be realized in just 200 meters of pipe length. So that would translate to 3 million ton CO2 equivalent. And again, like if you are only caring about the cost, then an annual cost savings of 59,000 can be realized. So as as the cost difference is 81,000 to start with, the payback period comes out to be 1.37 years. Yeah. A small example too for people who are not familiar with HVAC but are dealing more with processes. So a thermic fluid pipe, again 200 meter of pipe length, 250 mm diameter, horizontal orientation liquid carrying thermic fluid at 280 degrees Celsius. So here the proposed solution is aluminum cladding and mineral wool, one of the most widely accepted and easy to understand. The option 1, we have suggested at 100 mm of insulation material, which is priced at 1,15,000, and 150 mm of insulation material, which is priced at 2,07,000. So for the option 1, we are getting an outer surface temperature of 48.6 degrees Celsius, well within the norms. So do we want to optimize it more, or are we satisfied with 100 mm? That's the question that these reports that talk about energy efficiency, they really stress on. Okay, are we optimizing, or are we just discussing about only one objective? So holistic optimization is an input here. Like, we are also wanting to reduce the surface temperature from 48 to 42. So like through more insulation, we are reducing it from 48 to 42, but people generally stop at 55 or even at 60 at times. So from 48 to 42, if we are reducing, in option 2, an energy savings of 52 megawatt hour can be realized in a year, and GHG reductions of again 21 million ton CO2 equivalent. And again, the cost savings is 4.2 lakhs. So we are optimizing the solution below 60 degree, but the actual economic thickness is much, much higher than that. So just a simple payback period of 0.2 years, that is just like a couple of months or so. A small example 3, ducting in a manufacturing plant, an investment of almost 3/4 upwards of a lakh can lead to 1.5 lakhs in savings, and payback period of 1.2 years can be realized. Okay, so how are we going to help you achieve this? So, yeah, so our service, it's called Insu Design, and we have created a framework for trying to achieve this for any clients that we engage with. So first is the requirement, what place we are talking about, what equipments or pipelines or operating conditions we are talking about. So here we decide the objectives of insulation. Second, I would say would be creating the design itself. So the objective is decided to be acoustic and fire combined. So we'll create the design accordingly, and then we are trying to optimize it. Then comes the vendor stage. So we can conduct due diligence. So due diligence would involve manufacturing as well as onboarding. So manufacturing in the sense that their manufacturing processes are ISO 9001 or not, or are the quality checks being done or not. And onboarding of vendors with submittals. Then the site work begins. So there we can help with supervision to ensure that no thermal bridges are created. And finally, performance validation. That is post-installation audit, I would say, because like it's not just that IT companies say that data is gold. We should also say that data is good. The more data we collect, the better insights we have and the better solutions we can provide. So that is one part of the service. And if you are wondering what is Insu audit, if you have seen in our brandings, so it's just we decide the requirements. That's it. Yeah. Okay, thank you so much. That is all from my side. So next we would have a video that is prepared by the team. So it's their hard work that you are about to see. They have worked nights and even weekends to come up with this video and like show it to you. So I really want to show it to you. And the team has worked really hard for it.
So we are putting up a new factory in Ankleshwar. It's a small coating unit, nothing fancy.
Okay, understood. And you would like insulation primary for comfort or process reasons?
See, it actually gets quite hot in here, so the worker always complains about the heat in our currently rented unit. So we don't want them to feel like they are inside a furnace, so mainly for heat control.
Okay, and do you have any target into temperature range in mind?
Not really. Just that the people should be able to work comfortably without having us to install ACs. If we can just keep the temperature, say 8 to 10 degrees lower than the outside, I think that's good enough.
Okay, got it. And for office block, would you that have air conditioning in there?
Yes, we do, but we haven't decided on tonnage or model yet, but we surely want to install ACs in our office area.
Okay, noted. What about DG set room? Any specific sound or fire requirement there?
It's a 250 kilowatt ampere diesel generator. The genset vendor said that we should have some kind of acoustic wall linings, but we haven't decided on it yet. Also, I think that fire department will tell us later what's needed.
Okay, right. And for process area, any heat generating equipment is there like furnace, compressor or hot fuel lines?
Yeah, we have outlined all the details in the document that we shared along with the drawings. And if you still have any queries, we can get on a call anytime to resolve them.
Okay, sure. One more question. Have you decided on roof or wall type?
Yeah, we'll go with the color-coded sheets, but the architect said that we can decide on insulation later depending on our budget.
Okay, so cost is an important driver for you.
Oh, of course, yes, it is. We want something that gives us good value, but not too heavy on capital. If you can give us few options, that would be great.
Okay, we can do that. Would you be open to discussing different materials, say puff, mineral wool, aerogel, depending on use area?
I don't know too much about those, but whatever is common in good practice will do, I think.
Okay, fair enough. Lastly, any concern about condensation or corrosion there?
Not really, it's all dry work, but Ankleshwar is a humid place, so maybe you can check if that matters.
Okay, sure. Thank you, Mr. Patel. We will prepare a preliminary concept and send it for your review next week.
Sure, please do that and just keep it practical, don't over-engineer it.
Okay, totally understand. We will aim for balanced solution and thank you for your time.
Thank you, have a good day.
Yes.
Good evening everyone and thank you for taking the time today. I'll be walking you through the meticulously curated thermal, acoustic and fire insulation solution for the new facility. With the zoning and the overall requirements for the thermal, acoustic and fire solution designed for a 20 cross 12 meter greenfield facility at Ankleshwar. The metal shed is divided into 5 primary zones. On the left, we have the air-conditioned office area maintained at 24 degrees Celsius. This space is adjacent to active process zones and contains multiple duct penetrations, which makes it important to ensure that sound transmission and potential fire spread are effectively controlled. Below that, we have the DG room, which houses the diesel generator. This equipment typically generates around 95 decibels of noise and carries an inherent fire risk due to fuel and heat sources. On the right side, we have the process zone, where equipment operates at nearly 180 degrees Celsius, and although ventilated, it is non-AC, making worker heat exposure a key concern. Running through the center is a utility corridor, and its primary function is to carry essential services, cables, pipes, and utilities. And because it has multiple wallet penetrations, it becomes a potential transfer path for heat and sound if untreated. Now, a quick side profile. The facility itself is a metal structure located in Ankleshwar, functioning in hot and dry climatic conditions with high solar loads. With year-round operations, the insulation system must perform consistently across all seasons. The key client requirements include reducing heat in non-AC areas for worker comfort, maintaining clean zone separation for the office, providing acoustic treatment for the DG room, ensuring fire-safe construction, and achieving all of this with a practical, cost-balanced approach. Moving on to industrial shed insulation design. The office zone requires a climate-controlled workspace that remains comfortable and isolated from surrounding operational noise. The DG room requires fire-rated insulation that can also provide strong acoustic isolation to manage the high noise levels generated by the diesel generator. The process area, being non-AC, needs a reduction of around 8 to 10 degrees in heat exposure. The metal shed heats up rapidly during hot afternoons, so slowing down heat gain is essential for ensuring a safer working environment. In our design approach, we aligned our solutions directly with the client's requirements by enhancing thermal comfort in non-AC zones, improving office energy efficiency by reducing external heat load, providing focused acoustic treatment for the DG room, and incorporating fire compliance in a cost-effective manner. To achieve this, we evaluated two strategies. First, a cost-based design focused on budget optimization, and second, a performance-based design focused on maximizing technical benefits. Moving from planning into technical evaluation, this slide compares insulation options for the metal roof and the equipment kept in the process area. The objective here is to understand how different materials behave under heat load and to evaluate which combinations give us the desired thermal performance. On the left, we compare bare metal, mineral wool and PIR panel insulation. The parameters we are evaluating include thermal conductivity, which governs how easily heat flows through the material, R value, which indicates resistance to heat flow, and material density and thickness, which directly impact heat attenuation and installation feasibility. On the right, we are analyzing two equipment groups under different insulation combinations. This section helps us identify how variations in insulation thickness and material type influence heat attenuation on equipment surfaces. After evaluating the thermal aspects, we now move to the acoustic requirement, particularly relevant for the DG room and surrounding areas. The diagram shows a layered wall assembly incorporating the acoustic insulation material. The graph plots transmission loss across different frequencies, helping us understand how the system behaves in low, mid and high frequency ranges, which is essential when dealing with the DG generated sound. At the bottom, we compare the two suppliers. So supplier 2 although has a price 1% higher, but the material has 10% embodied carbon, which becomes very important from sustainability point of view. Continuing with the acoustic requirement, now we compare 50 mm insulation with 100 mm insulation. The sound absorption curves show the behavioral differences between two thicknesses, especially at lower frequencies where achieving absorption is more challenging. This comparison helps determine the level of treatment required to manage DG related low frequency noise. A quick visual of the application approach. On the left is the wall assembly using mineral wool with perforated GI or gypsum board supported on metal framing. On the right is the roof assembly using glass wool supported with wire mesh and GI crosswire suspension. These visuals help demonstrate how the thermal, acoustic and fire related layers integrate into the existing structure. Coming to cost comparison, the table summarizes the investment required for each option, including thermal treatments, acoustic treatments, and fire-rated components. The idea here is to provide a clear visibility of where the major cost centers lie and how each option scales with performance. As we can see, thermal option 1 initially costs 1,29,390 rupees, whereas thermal option 2 costs 1,77,000 rupees. On the right side, where we highlight the financial evaluation metrics, which include annual energy savings, payback period, and present calculations, we can see thermal option 1 is better than option 2 in terms of initial cost, and upon calculations, it can be said that its net present value is around 1,19,368 rupees. The net present value simply means converting future savings into today's monetary terms so that client can make an apples to apples comparison between what is spent now and what is saved later. However, we can see an additional cost of 47,610 rupees in option 2 would lead to an extra savings of around 19,909 per year. This all data helps in selecting the combination that gives the best long-term value and not just lowest initial cost. Coming to the final slide, the consolidated specification sheet along with bill of quantities and cost estimates. The detailed values have been blurred out in this presentation, but we will be providing a complete set of technical submittals and BOQs separately. This will make it much easier for the client to float inquiries, compare vendor proposals, and move forward with the procurement without any ambiguity. That summarizes the report. Thank you for your attention.
It was really very insightful. It was really very insightful. And thank you so much. Now, before I would like to invite for the vote of thanks.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Jimit Mehta, and it's my pleasure to deliver a word of thanks on behalf of Swa. I'd like to start by thanking Virat sir for such an insightful and engaging presentation. We truly appreciate the knowledge that you shared with us today. And my heartfelt thank you to all the panelists and guests for taking out their valuable time to join us in this special launch. Your presence really adds value to this milestone. I would like to sincerely thank SWA's team for their constant and innovative thinking and support. And lastly, I'd like to thank event management team for their support and Hotel Crown Plaza for their wonderful hospitality. Thank you and have a great evening.
I wish all the very best to Swa Consultancy team for their future business endeavors. And really we have enjoyed tonight with a lot of insights. I came to know about so many new things. And before we move it with the dinner, I would like to request you to stand and let's go ahead with the national anthem. Dinner is open for all of us, and lip smacking dinner is waiting for you. Please don't forget to collect a small gift hamper from the registration desk. And I would love to wish you very good night and see you again. Thank you. हेलो, हमने जो इंटरेक्शंस टेबल रखे हैं जहां पे आप अपने क्वेश्चन आंसर्स पूछ सकते हैं, हमारी टीम से आप मिल सकते हैं इन द हॉल एंड आउटसाइड एट द कॉरिडोर एरिया। आप मिल सकते हैं हमारी टीम से।
स्टार्ट बंद ले हेडफोन पकड़ ले राहुल